Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Okay, and like I said in my last video, now here I am for Memorial Day to continue with the Steven Spielberg reviews with her review for Saving Private Ryan. So, yeah, like I said, I wanted to save this movie to review today for Memorial Day because this is like very much related to what Memorial Day is really all about. Of course, like this film really is like it is a war type of movie. And this is a movie that I really hadn't really seen before because, to be honest, I just really don't care for war movies all that much. I mean, it's not to say that really that they're bad. It's just they're not really my type of movies. Like I'm not really into like these sort of movies. So I really haven't really seen that many war movies before. But of course, I did know like this film was really held in a high regard by a lot of people. I mean, it even says right down here, winner of 5 Academy Awards, including Best Director. So, yeah, with winning 5 Academy Awards, of course, like this film really was like, it is like one of Steven Spielberg's most critically acclaimed movies. So, of course, I had to include it in these reviews since it is held in a high regard by a lot of people. So, yeah, I did finally give this film a watch, and yeah, this was a pretty great movie. I mean, yeah, it is like a pretty long movie. It is like almost 3 hours long, and yeah, there is like I feel like in this film they did have like quite a lot of stuff that just seemed like kind of filler and kind of just like dragged on, but still. Like, despite all that, I still did like this film overall. I mean, it really did have like a really good, a really great story to it, and it just really did have like some really great war scenes in it, like some like the fighting scenes in this film, like they are like a really great scenes. I mean, yeah, they do like kind of go on for a while. I mean, like the opening battle scene in the film, it like goes on like for up until like the 30-minute point in the movie. So yeah, the battle scenes in this film, they are like kind of long, but they are still like really great. I mean, they are really just they really are just choreographed really great, and it really does like keep the people like invested to it. It's not like something where it's just like, oh my gosh, like how when is this gonna end? Like it's not something where you're just like sitting there with your like hand on your cheek, just like waiting for it to come to an end. Like it's they are like really good scenes, and yeah, of course, like this film like does get like pretty violent. I mean, with it being a war film and with it having an R rating, like it like there are some like gruesome deaths in this film. Like yeah, some of the deaths in this film, like people die like pretty violently. They're like gunshots to the head. I mean, you see like blood like gushing everywhere. So yeah, the deaths are pretty violent. So I guess like this really is like trying to keep it like as much of realistic as a war film as it can possibly be. And yeah, it is a pretty great film. I mean, yeah, the film does have like a pretty good cast to it. It has a Tom Hanks, Tom Sizemore, Adam Goldberg, Edward Burns, Barry Pepper, Vin Diesel, Giovanni Ribisi, Jeremy Davies, Matt Damon, Paul Giamatti, even Bryan Cranston has an appearance in this film. So yeah, the film does have like a pretty good cast, and they all do pretty great jobs in this film. I mean, I can't really think of anybody that was in this film that really didn't give a good performance at least. So yeah, everybody in this film does do a pretty good job. Like I said, there are like some scenes in this movie that do feel like kind of filler and just kind of like drag on because yeah, in this scene there's a lot of well, there's several different points in this film where it just shows like the soldiers are just talking, and it really just doesn't get anywhere. It just kind of seems to like go on, and then it just kind of seems like filler stuff. It just seems like stuff that they were just doing to just try to make the film longer. So I really feel that they could have like cut a lot of just the talking out, and they probably could have shortened this film down to like be about like a just a little over 2 hours, but hours, and maybe they could have maybe shortened down the war scenes a little bit. especially like that opening one. Like I said, it goes on for like nearly 30 minutes. So, yeah, while it does like still like keep people like invested into it, and it really doesn't like turn anybody away, it just kind of feels like it's going on for a little bit long. So I feel that they could have probably like cut them down a little bit so they wouldn't have been like a drawn out as long as they were. But yeah, still like for all the stuff that kind of does like drag on a little long, it is still like a really great film. Like I said, the fight scenes in this film are just like really great, and some great acting from people, and yeah, a pretty great story overall. Yeah, the story for this film is really just how there's a there's an army private that like has lost a lot of has lost all of his siblings, and the last one is like ordered to be brought home. And so yeah, so really just for pretty much this whole film, what it's about is just how um um uh, a captain and some of members of his army just set out to try to find him. So yeah, that's pretty much just what this is about. And when they do eventually find him, they like team up to fight up against the Germans. So yeah, it is like a pretty great film, and it really just does have a really great story overall. I'm not sure if I would go so far as to really place this in Steven Spielberg's top 5 films of all time, but I would definitely like place this in Steven Spielberg's top 10 films of all time. Yeah, it really is just like a really great film and really worth a watch. So yeah, if you haven't seen it before, check it out. Even if you are like me and you aren't like really a big fan of war movies, this film is definitely worth a watch. Just yeah, just as long as you can like put up with like if for scenes that do kind of drag on and really don't go anywhere. Yeah, if you can put up with that, then yeah, this film is still definitely worth a watch. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this film to people. So I would give this film 3.75 stars out of 4. It is just yeah, it is a great film with a lot of great action in it. So yeah, yeah, so yeah, I really can't say that it is really one of the best war films of all time because, like I just said, I really haven't seen a whole lot of them. So yeah, I really don't know like where this film would rank in like best war films of all time. But yeah, if for any of you that really have seen a lot of war films, if you can like comment on my channel and just tell me if you think that this ranks in like the best war films of all time. I'm just, yeah, since I really don't follow war films, I really can't say that. But yeah, for those of you who do follow them, let me know, comment on my channel and tell me if you think this is among the best war films of all time. Alright, but anyway, okay, so yeah, let me just get into the premise of this film. So, as the film opens up, I would have to assume that like in the present day of this film, because yeah, most of this film really is a flashback. But yeah, in the opening of this film, it does show an elderly veteran visiting a cemetery with his family, and so yeah, I and then he ends up like falling to his knees with emotion. And so I would have to assume that this film, like this opening, is like set on Memorial Day, since like they are visiting well, the veteran is like visiting like the memorial cemetery. Yeah, that's what I would have to assume. I mean, there's no official confirmation of this, but seeing who it like shows at the end who he actually is coming to visit, I would have to assume that this film is like the opening of this film is like set on Memorial Day. But yeah, there's no official confirmation of it. Yeah, but as he like ends up dropping to his knees emotionally, it then shifts to June 6, 1944, where as shows an army of American soldiers is arriving on Omaha Beach, each as part of the Normandy invasion, and of course, like they're fighting against the Germans, and eventually, Captain Miller, who's played by Tom Hanks, who is like the captain of the Second Ranger Battalion, and is like leading a breakout from the beach. And yeah, like I said, this opening battle like goes on for like quite a while. Like it goes on to like the 30-minute point in the film, so it does kind of like last for basically 30 minutes. So yeah, it does kind of like go on for quite a while. But yeah, it still is like a really great like yeah throughout this whole segment, I guess. it just shows like there are like some violent deaths. Like it shows like at one point there's like a guy that like gets shot in his helmet, but yeah, of course, like the helmet deflected the shot, and then he took it off, and then he ended up getting shot in the head, and you saw like the blood like going everywhere. Yeah, and there are some other deaths like that. It shows like when one guy got wounded pretty bad, the medics were tending to him. And and it just should like show like war breaking out. But then eventually when it finally came to an end, it then just showed a dead soldier lying face down in a bloody surf, and it showed that on his pack it was stenciled Ryan S. And then in Washington D.C. in the U.S. War Department, and the general then learned of like that three of the four sons in the Ryan family were killed in action, and the fourth son, James, is with the 101st Airborne Division in Normandy. And then he ordered that James Ryan be brought home after he read Abraham Lincoln's Bixby letter aloud. And then 3 days following D-Day, and Miller then had the orders to find Ryan and bring him back, and then he like brought along like 7 men of his army. It included a Sergeant Horvath, the privates Ryman and Saparzo, privates Mellish and Jackson, as long as the medic Wade, and T5 Upham, who's an interpreter from the headquarters. And so then, as they then headed out to search for Ryan, they eventually then actually did meet a squad of 101st engaged in the enemy, and in the ensuing battle, like at one point, Saparzo was trying to like take a daughter away from a family or something. I don't know if he was actually like taking the daughter away from the family, or if he was just like trying to get her to safety. But yeah, in that as that was going on, a German ended up killing Saparzo. Oh yeah. And then eventually, then they ended up finding a private James Ryan, but it turned out this wasn't the James Ryan they were looking for. They were looking for James Frederick Ryan. Oh no, I'm sorry, James Francis Ryan. But this James Ryan was named James Frederick Ryan. So yeah, it turned out that this wasn't the private Ryan that they were looking for. Or so yeah. And then eventually, then Miller then learned from a fleet of passing soldiers that the private Ryan that they're looking for is actually defending a bridge in Rommel. So then, yeah, Miller and his army then set out for Rommel. Oh, and as they were nearby, and as then like Miller then like was neutralizing a German machine gun on position and at a radar station, despite like the misgivings the rest of his men had. Yeah, but then yeah, Wade ended up like being killed, and after they had captured a German soldier, Miller actually like refused to actually execute the soldier, and then eventually he ended up setting him free, and then yeah, Ryben then was like starting to lose confidence in Miller's leadership, and then like he then declared that he had the intention to desert, which then like had a confrontation with Horvath, and after like a standoff between like Miller's men, then Miller ended up like breaking it up by like just disclosing the career that he had as a high school English teacher, or that like his men had set up a betting pool for, and then after all that, then Ryben then decided to stay, and then once they eventually then and arrived at Rommel, then they did find Private Ryan and a small group of paratroopers that were that are defending like the key bridge against an imminent German attack. And then yeah, after then Miller then told Ryan about his dead brothers, and he was ordered to uh, uh, come home. Like Ryan was just in so much distress that he wasn't willing to actually leave his post. And then, yeah, Miller and his unit then combined forces with the paratroopers to defend the bridge. And then, yeah, he devised like a plan to actually ambush the enemy with various 30 caliber guns and some Molotov cocktails, anti-tank mines, and improvised satchel charges that actually were made from the soldiers' socks. Yeah. And then, yeah, then showed like eventually that there were like elements of the 2nd SS Panzer Division arriving with 2 Tiger tanks and 2 Marder tank destroyers that were protected by German infantry. Yeah, and then it showed that and then in the ensuing battle with the Germans, it showed that most of the paratroopers, along with Jackson, Welsh, and Horvath, were then killed in the battle. And then Miller was trying to blow up the bridge, but then that German prisoner that Miller freed earlier on it showed that he had rejoined the fighting unit, and he ended up shooting and mortally wounding Miller. But then Miller then eventually ended up crawled to the bridge detonator and then fires at an oncoming tank that was coming towards him. And then as the tank ended up reaching the bridge, an American P-51 Mustang ended up flying overhead and destroying the tank. And then reinforcements of the American armored units then arrived. I have to rout the rest of the Germans, and it showed like the Germans were now starting to flee, and then Upham then ended up leaping out from hiding, and he eventually ended up holding the German prisoner and his fellow soldiers at gunpoint, and then he ended up shooting the prisoner dead, but then just allowed everybody else to flee. And then as the medic was trying to tend to Miller, it then showed how Ryan were with Miller as well. And then as Miller was as he was dying, he just said to Ryan, "James, earn this, earn it." And then he then just ended up dying from his wounds. Yeah. And then as we then had kind of a voiceover narration about the aftermath and stuff, it then just showed all the other soldiers just grieving over Miller's death, and it eventually then faded back from Private Ryan back to the elderly veteran from the beginning of the film, and then it ended up revealing that old veteran was actually Ryan, and he was actually standing beside Miller's grave. And then just Miller then just not Miller, the old Ryan was then just still on his knees by Miller's grave, and then he was talking to Miller, and then he just was then asking his wife if he was worthy of such a sacrifice, and his wife replied that he is. And then Ryan then just saluted Miller's grave before leaving with his family, and then then just zoomed into Miller's grave and just showed his name on the grave and saying that was 2nd Ranger Battalion, and the date of its death. And then then the movie just closed by just showing the American flag just waving in the air, and then it then cut to credits. So a pretty great film overall. It just, like I said, there are quite the number of scenes that do drag on. Some of the battle scenes really seem to go on for a bit long, especially that first one, as well as just like I said, there's a lot of there's several occasions in this film where there's just talking, and it just really doesn't get anywhere. And so there can be sometimes where this film does seem to drag on, but the stuff that's great is still really, really great. The fight scenes are still great, the acting is great, the story is great. For all despite how much like it can drag on at points, it is still like there is still like a lot of great things about this film. So, like I said, if you haven't seen this film before, like I haven't really done before, check it out. Even if you're not a fan of horror films like me, this film is still definitely like worth a huge watch. So, yeah, like I said, I would place this in like Steven Spielberg's top 10 films of all time. So, like I said, 3.75 stars out of 4. So, check it out if you haven't seen it before. Alright, so, and I guess that's all I can really say about it. So, I know that this like seemed like a little bit of a shorter review, but yeah, just because I tried to stick to like the main premise of this film because since like there is like several occasions where this drags out, I tried to just like keep it to the main premise of the film. So hopefully this review did turn out okay for you guys. Alright, so this is it for my review of Saving Private Ryan. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.